Hi, and welcome to This Property Life. I'm your host, Nick Claydon. I'm here today with Caroline Claydon.
Hi there.
And today we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence in property and what it means for property investors. Artificial intelligence, AI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely
Yes,
brilliant.
it is. I think it is. And I think that there's massive opportunities, which we'll talk about. I think that in the UK particularly, we're a little bit cynical maybe
Yeah.
about it. Maybe there's a lot of people that think it's not a thing or it's a future problem. But reality is it's here, isn't it? It's
Here.
already here. It's already happening.
Pandora's box is open. We
Yeah.
can't close it. And it's terrifying and exciting in equal measure, I think, because it's going to bring immeasurable change in the next, well, definitely 3 years. We're going to see huge change. And of course, us human beings, we're creatures of habit. We like things to stay as they are, the status quo. And so change is uncomfortable. But we've already seen it in the job market. Young folk really struggling to find jobs because the lower end jobs have been automated and taken out by AI. And this is where we're going to see it first, I think, the jobs. But I'm more concerned and interested in how can we capitalize on this and how can we make money from the situation, because there's going to be some really, really big winners out of this. And I want to know how and where and when and what to do.
Absolutely. And yeah, for me, I think it's all about ownership. I think that in a world, in an economy where artificial intelligence is replacing people and jobs,
Yeah.
which is, can I say, already happening. We're already seeing it. I mean, you're talking about one of your friends.
Mid-50s, data analyst in the financial sector, contractor on a great day rate, took some time out last summer and has not worked since. Has come very close with interviews, but just cannot seem to secure another job. And is kind of in denial, I guess, about the impact that AI is having on his job search. But yeah, it's here. Pandora's box is open, and we need to really grasp this opportunity by the scruff of the neck, because I think we're not going to see another major opportunity like this again in our lifetime.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Absolutely right. I mean, I think, when we're looking at jobs that are vulnerable, I mean, something like data analysts, I mean, I use AI every day now. Some exciting news on a new AI implementation I'm working on at the moment. As a test, I gave one of my AI agents a spreadsheet to analyze our hotel performance, and it did it in like 5 seconds and came back with, a whole list of analytical points that it had made, things that we can improve, targets that we can aim to hit, how can we improve certain metrics. I mean, it was like 5 seconds. So
It's really impressive. And when you have big organizations that can increase their profitability because they can massively reduce their costs, it's really, really exciting. But what does it mean for the layperson? What does it mean for us as property investors?
yeah, I'd imagine if you're in a white collar job at the moment and you're probably our kind of vintage is then yeah, you're probably quite worried, and you probably should be. But this is the time to be thinking about the future. What are the opportunities? Because there are loads of opportunities if you're open to them. But I think as a generation, as a nation, we probably need to get our heads out of the sand a bit.
Yeah, massively.
And face the reality of what's happening, because it's speeding up. It's not slowing down.
Yeah.
Things are changing on a weekly basis. It is crazy. I've gone kind of down a bit of a rabbit hole with it recently.
Yeah.
And you're seeing that even tech-brained 20-somethings are struggling to keep up with the pace of change. For again our generation, it's harder, but we have to face up to it. We have to embrace it.
Yeah. I'm ready to embrace. And just like, which direction do I embrace it in? Where do I turn?
Where do we go?
It's like I have to ask AI on how I can capitalize on AI.
I've done that.
I know.
And the answers are, well, look, you have to be invested in something. Pretending it's not happening is not a strategy. If you are in white collar work, you need to be really thinking about this today. It's not a future problem. It is a now problem. And so what we're talking about on this podcast is really about the opportunities for investors and owners. We're big advocates of ownership, whether that be property or business assets or
equity, stocks,
whatever it is. But you got to own something. If you just own a job, then you've got problems coming your way.
Yeah, big time.
And even those in manual labor jobs or jobs that involve something physical, you're probably okay for the time being. And that's probably going to see a big bump, I would think, in things like wages and salaries in the more physical economy,
Yeah.
short term, short, medium term. But if you've been following like Elon Musk, for example, you might not agree with him or what he does, but he's a very smart guy. And you look at what is happening with Tesla and Optimus, the future is going to be physical AI in the form of robotics. That is coming. It's probably not next 2 years, despite what Elon might say, but it is coming.
I put something on my Instagram last week when the Chinese did a
Oh, the Kung Fu
celebratory, the
robots.
Kung Fu robots that were dancing. And there was a split screen, actually. I didn't share this one, but where they showed the robots last year trying to do it and what the robots were doing this year.
Yeah.
And it was night and day. And I put a poll on my Instagram stories saying, does this excite or terrify? And overwhelmingly people were terrified, which
Yeah.
was fascinating to me because I can understand why it's terrifying. But when you think about what this means for, well, medicine, for example, and when we were talking about surgeons, robotic surgeons going to be, better than the best human surgeon could possibly be. One robot could far exceed their skill. And then when one robot knows how to do a particular surgery and it's updated, then every single robot that's doing those surgeries is updated. So globally, it's not like you have to travel to see an expert anymore. They're all experts and they're all incredible at it, and they can all do the surgery better than the human being could do it. And that to me is mind-blowingly exciting, that medicine and healthcare is suddenly not going to be an issue. Waiting lists, they're gone. Cost of medicine, depleted. And so disease could be eradicated. Like, wow, this is majorly
It's incredible.
life-changing.
Yeah, because if you're an expert surgeon in your field, you've worked years, decades to get there. I can understand how it might seem like a robot's going to come in to replace you, but you think about it from the wider public.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you say, no waiting list because these surgeries can happen
24 hours a day.
24 hours a day, and you don't even have to be in the same country. There was literally in the paper today a surgeon operated on somebody who's in Portugal from the UK.
Hang on.
That was today.
What happened? So
And it
he
was a physical surgeon, but he was directing a robot surgery from in
Oh,
Portugal.
wow. That's cool.
But soon that human element will also be replaced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the robots will be, if you've seen, I saw a video on Instagram that it was quite a while ago, so it's probably even way more ahead of this, a robot surgeon peeling an egg,
That's right.
a
Without
raw egg,
without breaking
without
the
breaking
set.
the membrane. So it was shelling an egg, a raw egg, not cooked one,
Yeah.
without breaking the membrane. It was just like off scale. And this is a few months ago now.
Yeah.
So
that's old news.
it is old news.
We've moved on.
Yeah, but the point is that this is coming, and healthcare probably be first for these kind of robots, but physical labor will ultimately also be replaced.
No more going to Turkey for your turkey teeth. Like, you can get that done in your home, probably. Brilliant. Plastic surgery
Little
at
hair
cut prices. Brilliant.
So, there's lots of really, really good things about AI, but, a lot of people I think are terrified about it or will rail against it. But as in previous, major shifts in technology, going back in history, people get displaced, but other jobs are created. This time it's the white collar industries that are going to get displaced first.
Interesting. If you look at history, it would be farming the land that all changed.
And there was major social upheaval when that happened.
Yeah.
Because all the farm workers were displaced and replaced by machinery. There were massive social upheaval that happened, and unrest and protests, and all these things happen. And this, I think, this will definitely happen.
Oh yeah, there's going to be protests. There's going to be unrest. But it's okay. What does this mean for us who are investing in property? So if we want to go
or owning it, property is one way for
Yeah.
sure, but ownership, there are other things we can do today to be a part of this rather than try and fight it.
So let me paint a little picture that does worry me. Okay. And we might go down this rabbit warren and all our listeners are going to start freaking out. But let's imagine,
We're supposed to be keeping on track of this episode. But
Oh, yeah. But I like to
yeah.
go off piste. But so we're talking white collar jobs being displaced. That means salaries, the reliability of salaries goes away, and all mortgages are underwritten by the reliability of salaries. And so if those salaries can no longer underwrite mortgages, then the whole mortgage market effectively collapses, or people, well, banks, don't see any comfort in the customer who would be taking those mortgages out. And therefore, the property market stalls, falters, confidence drops in it, prices drop. And what happens to rents? How do people pay their rents? We could go really dark
But
and ugly here.
but
Where does it end? But I think we need to take a breath and go, okay, that is real catastrophic thinking. And I'm not saying that the mortgage market is not going to collapse. And I'm not going to say that property market isn't going to crash. But what does it mean for us who own those assets now? How do we protect ourselves from this change? And how can we push on through and make money out the other side?
yeah, honestly, if you look at what is a typical for a bank, all right, what is a typical avatar of a mortgage
Oh, yeah.
borrower?
Your
What do they want? Generally speaking, I think it would be a
white collar
white
worker,
collar professional worker in a
steady, secure
steady,
job.
secure job.
Yeah.
So somebody that is maybe a data analyst for a bank,
Yeah.
right? Tick, 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 tick. That's gone. And if that type of person
Can no
can no
longer.
longer pay mortgages, then yeah, that is
Fundamentally.
fundamental shift in how banks lend. Okay, so we could go on and on looking down into the future, down the rabbit hole, of what may or may not happen. We don't know what may or may not happen, but what can we do as business people, entrepreneurs, property investors, whatever you want to call it? And I think there's lots of things.
I mean,
The first thing I would do if you've got spare cash at all would be to invest in the tech companies that are
driving
this.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
and look into who owns what, because there'll be companies that you might not think own bits of this AI that do and are heavily invested in it. So you want to be on the right side of history, I would say, and don't try and fight them personally. I would say these are the ones that are going to make all the money. So you want to be invested
Buy those stocks.
in those companies that are going to be the net benefactors of this AI wave.
So we've been doing some research into this, right? Because we're really interested in
we're not giving any
investment
financial advice.
Yeah.
But personally speaking, if you look at who's likely to benefit from the AI revolution, whatever you want to call it, it's probably going to be the companies that are building it and own the infrastructure. So,
well, you've got you've got the energy that's needed to run it.
Energy, data centers,
and the robotics,
but also who makes chips.
Yeah.
There's a reason NVIDIA is the world's most valuable company. It makes all the chips for the data centers. And, so there's a lot of things that you could look at just to be on board. And I would say an easy one, if you've got any spare cash or you've got an ISA or pension, whatever, get control of it. I could go on to a whole other episode about pensions and, not controlling your future, because do you know what your pension is actually invested in?
Yeah.
Is it invested in the things that you believe it should be invested in? Personally, I'll get control of it back and invest into the companies that are going to be benefiting hugely from this AI drive. So that's one thing. Property wise, we obviously property investors. What are we doing? How are we protecting ourselves? And what's our plan?
Well, we're going back to basics, really. We love our baby buy-to-lets. If those of you that follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I was in one of our very original investment areas this week. We're going back on Tuesday and we're doing a number of viewings to buy more stock. People fundamentally will still need somewhere to live. And if you want to be super cautious, then the obvious direction would be social housing, where the government effectively pays you your income. I don't think that's going to go away. If anything, that's going to grow. If more and more people are displaced out of work, then you're going to see more people on benefits and more people needing the government to help them with paying for their housing. So that would be a number one area of strategy to consider.
Yeah, I think so. I think the future really is going to be split between those that own things and those that don't.
The owners.
And are reliant on government support or whatever other support may or may not be coming. I mean, talked about things like universal basic income that, a lot of the tech companies have talked about in terms of how are people going to get paid? How can the general public benefit from this? But essentially, I think that's where you're going to go. You're going to go people that own assets and people that don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're really vulnerable and you are open, or you're relying on the government to have a plan. Now, if you just read any newspaper,
come on now.
And you think, are the British government ahead
Oh,
of this curve or
oh
behind the
my
curve?
God.
Okay.
You just need to look at Keir Starmer at the moment and just be like, that guy's got no Scooby Doo. What the
I,
hell's going on?
I just don't know about anybody else listening to it. I have zero faith that the government have any clue what's coming. They might have been told about it and they're probably warned about it, but I think they're so focused on the present
Yeah.
that
And they're messing
making a
that
mess of
up.
that to think about what might be coming in 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years time. I just don't even think I think they're well behind the curve. So you can't trust the government to sort it out for you. You know, they're just,
Space cadets.
yeah. I mean, what has Keir Starmer come out and said about AI? Nothing. I haven't
Well,
heard anything.
I don't think that you got any government around the world that's really talking about it. I know that.
You in China, they are
Oh
well
God,
ahead.
yeah. I take it
China would
back.
be well ahead of it.
China
I
are
think
all
the
over
Far
it.
East, Japan, I imagine, would be well ahead of it.
Actually, Trump has put some serious players in positions to do with like energy and tech and stuff like that. So, he's aware of it. He's talking, I mean,
I,
but
how much he's aware
geez,
of it, but there'll be people in America, I think, that are. In Britain, I'm really, really not convinced at
no,
all. I saw an article written by Reshape. I'm talking about AI, but it came and went, that article. There was nothing really majorly revelatory about it. But yeah, so don't rely on the government, I think. This is where we really do have to wake up and think, all right, how can I protect myself? How can I save myself? And I think it is really that drastic. I think it is a question of,
yeah,
you know, no one's come to save you.
yeah.
We've got to deal with this ourselves. What are we doing? As we said,
Stops.
fundamentally, people always need somewhere to live. No matter what happens in the world, people need somewhere to live. I think it's about buying assets, but also the right type of asset.
Yeah,
So what is, I think, has been happening as well, a lot of people think happening, is the middle classes are being squeezed and almost like hollowed out. So you're going to have the people that own stuff and then the people that don't, and the middle class is kind of gone,
they've gone. Well, yeah, it's non-existent.
right? So it's, if you want to be in the ownership class, we've got to start buying. The good news is, when it comes to property, you can buy and get into it for probably less than you might think, depending where you're looking. So there's definitely opportunities to be a property owner.
Yeah.
And I think, we've seen, say, in our investment area, rents have gone up,
Yeah, they've practically doubled.
almost doubled in 5 years. Maybe not even five,
Oh,
maybe 3. Well, we were renting houses out
550. They were renting them out for about 500.
500, 550, and they're now 850, 900,
Yeah.
950.
Yeah.
Same houses.
And interestingly, they haven't gone up in
Yeah.
capital growth.
Very
So in
little growth.
15
Yeah.
years, they've really not grown, which means that the cost of buying that same asset has stayed stagnant for 15 years, but the rental income has increased,
Yeah.
practically doubled. So, we don't buy for capital growth. That's not one of the purposes, because
But I think a lot of people mistake that in property, and they do. And so they compare property with other assets and think, oh, what has property grown? What has a
yeah,
property grown
yeah,
in this time compared to the stock market or other types of investments? And they're missing the point. So if you looked at our portfolio, value-wise, buy-to-let portfolio, value-wise,
it's not changed a huge
20%,
amount. Yeah, a little.
maybe 20% over 15 years.
Yeah.
So a bit of growth. Rents, yeah, doubled.
Yeah, because demand is outstripping
Demand's
supply.
huge.
And where does that demand come from?
Yeah.
Because people aren't able to buy, so they're forced into the rental market. And if you're being displaced from your jobs and you're unmortgageable, then what's going to happen? You're going to be displaced back into the rental market. More demand, higher rents. And if it's the government that's paying for the rent, then the government is just going to have to print more money.
And what the government currently doing, trying to get private landlords out of the market. So there's fewer houses in the rental stock.
Yeah.
So I think that, the forces are combining for property investors who buy the right type of thing,
Yeah.
to really do well over the next few years. But forget about the growth element for me.
Yeah, I think the growth element, we just have to stick a pin in that, because if doomsday comes along and mortgages are a disaster and the property market crumbles and nobody's, no transactions are happening, then, when we talk about our multiple exits, who's going to be buying these assets from us if there is no income to support a mortgage application? So then it's like, okay, we're actually holding these
on the
for the
buy-to-let
income.
side. Yeah, but on the buy-to-let side, the government will probably end up paying the mortgages.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. So in terms of who's paying the mortgage, you might see a shift from banks from residential mortgages into investment mortgages, because it's going to be backed by the government. So, particularly if something like universal basic income, does happen, or some other way of mass benefiting from, the AI companies and the tech
Well, they're
companies.
talking about maybe giving equity in the tech companies as opposed to the universal
Yeah, or dividends.
income. I
Yeah.
mean, it,
So,
it's
so,
impossible to know where this is going to
yeah.
go. I mean, people are going to be pissed. That's for sure. They're going to not like it. They're going to kick off, and the governments are going to have to pivot really, really quickly. And well, I don't think they're capable of doing that. So
Well, they will when it's suddenly a
when
thing.
it's something, when there's rioting on the streets,
Correct.
I think it will go to that.
I think it will go to that. And but you want to be on the right side of it. So for me, being on the right side of it is owning properties where, I think you're more protected, and that is the lower end of the investment scale.
Yeah,
So, for example, where we invest and what we're looking to ramp up our buy-to-let portfolio buying, we could be looking at picking up properties under 100K,
yeah,
somewhere between 70 and 100.
yeah.
And these properties are going to rent out for somewhere between 800 to 1,200 pounds a month. Now, if you go down into the supported living sector, those rents can go up much
Even
higher than
higher.
that. So, we've got property we're looking at for the social housing, supported living sector. What was the rent? You looked it up. If we turn it
If it's
into,
into rooms per room, they're going to pay us £400 per room.
yeah, 5
It's
rooms.
5 rooms.
Yeah,
Where in the private rental market that will get maybe 950, but £400 a room times five, beautiful.
1,000 a month in that house is probably worth
Oh, but
100.
110.
So,
That's a great. Those
yeah.
numbers are great.
So you look at that and you scale that. If you can be making cash flows of £500 plus, even our routine buy to lets that are just
I mean,
straight family renters, that some of those are cash flowing now £400 to £500 a
we
month.
are getting HMO results on buy-to-lets
Yeah.
now, basically. And actually, when you think about all the regulation and legislation that comes around HMOs and the cost for setting that up, it actually does push you down well, I could just go social housing.
Why'd you bother?
And yeah, exactly. Take all the hassle out. But I mean, bear in mind, we were at a different stage in our
Yeah.
investment careers, if you like, where we want to be a little more hands off, a little, less involved in things. So yeah, I mean, the more hands off, the better. Social housing, supported living, where you sign a 5-year contract and you have no letting agent. Well, let's talk about letting agents with AI, because we looked at our rent roll, and we looked at how much we were giving away to letting agents. It was tens of thousands of pounds every year. And we looked at that and thought, bugger that. What do the letting agents actually do now that AI couldn't do?
It's an old model, like a lot of things that are going to change over the next few years.
Estate agencies selling
It's an old
properties,
model.
that's going to disappear as well.
More than likely. AI can take software now that can manage your portfolios. You still need some kind of physical element
Yeah.
to
But that could be a virtual
coordinate
assistant that doesn't
things.
even need to be, you could pay them by the hour,
Yeah.
and you're going to save literally tens of thousands of pounds every single year.
So I think there's a massive opportunity for optimization,
Optimization, that's the word.
right? So
There's going to be lots of new vocabulary coming into the world as well, isn't there?
yeah, so we're optimizing our buy-to-let portfolio, and that does mean, so we're taking control back from letting agents. I mean, we went to visit some of ours,
I
and
mean,
it's like going back in time to like
these guys.
1990.
Okay, so what did it tell us? Well, first of all, bear in mind we started buying buy to lets, and that was our focus. And then, of course, we evolved and we started doing HMOs and developments, and then bigger stuff, and then the hotels and everything else. So the buy to let stuff got neglected. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat
No,
that.
it
Like,
did. Yeah,
we
it
didn't pay
just
any
ticked along. We didn't do
attention.
anything to
We're
it.
like, it's with the letting agents. Like, don't put the rents up. Keep the tenants where they're at. Like, let's just kind of ignore that and just let it do its thing. So because we've got a bit more headspace now, we're like, right, let's optimize, as you say, and take control of the letting. Went to this one letting agent, who will remain nameless. Walked into the office. There's 3 people sitting there staring at a screen, not speaking to each other. The atmosphere was hideous. I was like, imagine spending your days in that office, just staring at. I don't even know what
And
they're doing.
what were they
What are they
actually doing?
actually doing? I have no idea what they're doing, just staring at screens. We pick up the files and the folders and the keys or whatever. And I come out of there and I'm like, oh my God, those people are literally wasting their lives away, just staring at a screen, crusty little office, crusty little colleagues, no conversations, just like brutal existence. And then we find out one of our properties that's empty at the moment. and it's empty because a skylight window needs replaced. We go into this property, it's absolutely immaculate. We look at the skylight window and we're like, what the hell's wrong with this? Like, it's got a little bit of residue that some water ingress has come in, but it's definitely not pishing in. It's not dangerous. It's not unlivable. What the hell are these lot doing? And basically, they're as passive as hell. They're not proactive. They don't give a shit. Because they're just guys in jobs. The owner of the letting agent, I'm sure, would have
I'm
cared.
sure they would care.
But these guys sitting in the office staring at a screen, they don't give two tosses if that property's rented out or not.
They have zero care factor.
And so you're just like, and this is the problem. This is the mentality of people that you're dealing with. Bring on the bloody robots. They probably will care more. Do you know what I mean? Well, it'll be far more efficient. That's for bloody sure.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, the mundane part of property investing or managing tenancies that AI can take care of.
Yeah.
We've looked at a completely new tech stack for our properties that can manage everything, take the rents in, automatically reconcile rents, flag up issues immediately. This is all automated now. So when we looked at that, it's like, what are we doing paying this agency what we're paying for them to sit about and we've got a perfectly good house ready to rent that could just be rented like that.
Yeah.
In an area of massive demand. Now, it's on us because we weren't on it.
Yeah, we weren't on it.
But now we are on it. And it's
but the whole point of paying a bloody letting agent is that you trust that they are on it. And I think that's it. This ownership thing, you kind of need to go, right, sod it. We're going to take complete ownership of this.
Here's the thing. This whole like passive income thing, it's just like, forget passive income.
It's PS.
Right. It's absolutely, anyone like talking about passive income, this and that, it's like, it's never passive, right? Anything worth doing is never passive. You have to, right? You have to take ownership of it. You have to be involved in it.
On it.
Yeah, it's not passive.
Or a robot. I'd prefer it to be a robot's finger on it than mine, because the big thing, going down this rabbit hole of universal income and us not having to work at all, the big thing is going to be human purpose.
Well, we are going on a tangent.
Well, we really are going on a tangent now. But seriously, if humans do not have to work for money anymore, what will they do on a daily basis? It will be life experiences. It will be travel. It will be, who knows? I mean, education is going to change completely as well. Like, please don't tell me I'm going to have to
watching
homeschool
wheelie dealers on TV.
Please tell me I'm not going to have to bloody homeschool. But, just like, what is humans' purpose going to be? That's going to be a fundamental.
It will be a philosophical question.
Yeah,
in the
maybe
future.
that's for another.
That's for another.
That's another episode.
But for now, it's like, okay, look, this is happening. It is real. It's a thing, and it's accelerating. That I think is a key message.
Yeah.
So you want to be on the right side of it. You need to start owning stuff. We do.
I think buy-to-lets is safe. I think social housing is safe. I'm questioning. I mean, HMOs, yes, but depends for which demographic.
Well, I think HMOs can pivot as well. So an HMO that could be a student house could pivot to be a different type of a multi-occupancy. I think multi-occupancy is
still going to be
a thing. Definitely.
What about serviced accommodation?
Definitely.
Oh,
I would say that's because if people are traveling, I think if you're catering for workers, you want to be catering for
leisure.
Well, either leisure, or if you're workers, you need to be focusing on physical labor workers,
your trades,
construction, major infrastructure projects, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think you're good with that for quite a while. Young professional, white collar, not so sure about that one.
Sorry, guys.
I think that might need to be a pivot.
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel so bad for the kids that are going off to university right now to study for jobs that are just literally not going to exist. I mean, the girl who does my nails, her daughter's off to university to do creative writing. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I think there will be a push. I think you will have, they'll also have, like, I think like, you'll have AI created content, and I think the people will still want a demand for human created content. I think that will be a thing. But, there's whole generations of kids that are being told you need to learn how to code. Coding's gone.
Yeah, you don't need to code.
Gone.
I mean,
right, you can code like that.
I heard there was a job like AI architecture. That sounds kind of cool, where you are the architect behind the AI.
Well, I think there'll be a lot of short to medium term AI driven roles where you're changing or where you're pivoting from one system to another with AI. So I think there'll be a whole swathe of that for the time being.
Yeah.
But then once it's all implemented, that's probably gone. But who knows where it's going? I think it's like, wake up to it if you haven't, learn about it. You could go down various rabbit holes on
face
YouTube,
up to it. You just got to face
deal
up
with
to
it.
it. Let your brain go to those scary
Yeah.
places and then just pull it back to, okay,
But I think
fundamentally, what?
fundamentally what we've got to do, right, you've got to own stuff. So a good simple way in is buy-to-let investing. I think buy-to-let investing is great opportunities in it.
Yes, I think stocks and shares,
Stocks and
like,
shares definitely as well.
you've got a £200 entry point or £300 entry
Yeah.
point for a share as opposed to 25% deposit. So you just like diversify as much as possible, fingers in lots
Yeah.
of little pies.
And then there's whole other stuff, which we'll probably save for another episode. So I've just recruited my AI assistant.
Oh, I love this. I've lost you. You're having an affair with AI
Yeah.
because you're spending hours basically training your bot
Yeah. But
to do things for you.
it's basically AI agents is the thing
Yeah.
now. It's almost like ChatGPT. Yeah, great, whatever. Great for information, but to do anything.
I'm kind of outgrowing ChatGPT.
Well, yeah,
I believe I'm
it's moving
saying it.
on. It's
I'm kind of outgrowing it.
But the next wave is agentic AI, which is
Yeah.
agents that actually do things. So, for example, I've just got my one, which I think talk about on the next episode. You set it tasks and it goes away overnight. It does all these tasks, and I tested one with just a prompt to go and create me a business that I'm not involved in that you can run and make it profitable by next week.
Brilliant.
Right.
That's
It
exciting.
is exciting. It went off and it came back and created this business around optimizing estate agents' listings. I gave it no input other than just go do something. You feed it a bit of information about who you are, what
Yeah.
you do,
What your background is.
and then it just goes off and uses that and comes up with some ideas. And it literally started this business optimizing agents AI. It went out there. It
Created a website.
It created a database of agents in the UK and it started emailing them. It created its own web page. It created its own email address.
Yeah.
And it literally just started firing out marketing emails. It hasn't been profitable yet, but I just did it as a test. It's like, okay, well, let's just see where this can go.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of really exciting things that are going to come about because of this. It's kind of, the opportunity's there. Get excited about it.
Yeah. Face up to it. Don't be scared.
Yeah, and get involved. But yeah.
Reach out to us. Tell us what you're thinking, where you're using AI, because we've been using AI in the hotels for a few years now. And, we were invited onto podcasts to talk about that. But that seems like, oh God, a chatbot on your website is so basic.
So it's very
now.
basic.
It's like, that's so last century.
Yeah, my
So
agent
last
now
year.
is currently going through all the data and analyzing and suggesting optimization strategies for the hotels. So, AI voice as well is massive, so essentially we've got an AI switchboard, but we want to replace that with an AI voice switchboard that can actually answer questions.
Amazing.
And that is what is happening next. Yeah, there's all sorts of really exciting things that are going to come about. But essentially, for us, it's like get involved. If you want to talk to us about how to get started in property or anything else that we've talked about, how do they get a hold of us, Caroline?
I'm on Instagram, CarolineClayton.property. We're both on LinkedIn and every social media platform that you can think of.
Yeah. Property Wealth Club, put the link in the video here.
We've got our next physical meetup in person, no robots allowed, on the 25th.
I'm bringing my bot with me.
Yeah, bring your bot. On the 25th of April, I think it is.
Yeah.
In Coventry, Birmingham Way. So if you want to know more about that, then reach out to us. And it'd be great to get as many people in a room to talk about all things investing and ownership.
Yeah, come see us. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.
Take care.